Hey guys, welcome to the pod.
The Pea Pod. I'm Ladle.
And I'm Peas.
And we have a full ladle of peas just for you.
So let's get to it. Christmas is almost here. Yeah, that's right. So if we time this out correctly, Christmas should be very close. And I'm quite excited. But yeah, so
this is where you keep talking.
Okay.
And I'm just underlining singing.
Welcome to the Ladle of Peas podcast. If this is your first time, I'm Brennan. That's
Go watch our other episodes
Justine.
because we're cool.
Or Peas and Ladle. Yeah, so we're glad we're here. Some quick housekeeping things here. We do have a YouTube, so go to Ladle of Peas podcast YouTube if you want to watch us, which I encourage you to do because it can be helpful for things like the car stuff we talk about at the end, and it's just cool because we're attractive. But if you prefer, we will have this out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify at some point.
And what's the other one called?
Oh yeah, what's that called again? Omni.
Common.center.
If you go to Common.center, it's on Omni is on Common.center, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Sorry, that's a little confusing.
Yep.
We're still trying to get it all figured out. It's a bit of a mess, but it'll be out at some point.
It's our first podcast.
It is our first podcast,
Really
not our
nice.
first episode, but yeah. So we'll get that out to you as soon as we can. I'm sure it'll be out by the time you guys hear this or watch it. All right. Well, I'm sure I'll think of something else as we go along, and if you have nothing else to say, I think we should get this show on the road.
Okay.
So what we have here is Christmas coming up, and what we're going to talk about kind of this week is just kind of like the secular Christmas part, like some of our favorite Christmas songs that are more secular. But to set this up, we're going to talk about in our Welcome to the Word. So if you want to get your Bibles out and turn to Isaiah chapter 9, we are going to talk about this prophecy in Isaiah 9, which is really just, it's one of the more well-known prophecies for Jesus and his coming and his birth by Isaiah. And so we're just going to kind of talk about this to lead up for next week when we talk about more of the Christian, like the actual meaning of Christmas. And yeah, so it's a very Advent-y, like an Advent passage that people would read.
Indeed.
So hopefully this will flow really nicely.
Prophecy.
But I read last time, so will you read verse 1 through 7? It's a lot, but we're going to only focus on a little part, so go ahead.
All right. Chapter 9, verse 1. But there will be no gloom for her who was in anguish. In the former time he brought into contempt the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali. But in the latter time he has made glorious the way of the sea, the land beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the nations. The people who have walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who dwelt in a land of deep darkness, on them has light shone. You have multiplied the nation, you have increased its joy, they rejoice before you, as with joy at the harvest, as they are glad when they divide the spoil. For the yoke of his burden and the staff for his shoulder, the rod of his oppressor, you have broken as on the day of Midian. For every boot of the trampling warrior in battle tumult, and every garment rolled in blood will be burned as fuel for the fire. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there will be no end, and on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and righteousness from this time forth and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this.
It's a very heartwarming passage. I feel like, because a lot of people know it. It's a great passage. So I have a ton to say about this. And
go off.
And so I'm just gonna roll, because I don't want to we don't have a lot of time for this section. I mean, we have time, but I don't want to get caught up and feel like I have to cut stuff off. So I'm just gonna
interject as I feel.
Yes, please do, because I don't want this to be like a Peas monologue here. So what we kind of want to focus here is on verse 6. For unto us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be on his shoulder. Now, actually, this is funny. I always thought it was shoulders, but that definitely says shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to kind of focus on these names that God gives his son, right? Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Those are just amazing names. But if we want to go back to Isaiah 7, 14 is really where this prophecy almost starts. And Isaiah 7:14 says, therefore the Lord himself will give you a sign. Behold, the virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and she shall call his name Emmanuel. And then this is kind of like the rest of that. But this is in 730 BC. Okay, King Ahaz is freaking out because Syria is trying to attack. It's threatening to attack everywhere, and he does not know what to do. And so God sends Isaiah down to him and says, here is my sign to you. This is what is going to happen. But this doesn't happen for another 700 years. But it's a sign that I'm still with you. I'm working on it. Not like he's failing, but he's got a plan. He's in control is basically what God's trying to tell him. Let's look at the first word, wonderful counselor, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful is, in Hebrew, it invokes this too wonderful for words, right? It's just this outpouring of just wonderful counselor. And then counselor is someone who advises us, but from a position of authority. So it's not just your best friend who's giving you dating advice or someone who is trying to help you out like your therapist, right? It's this wonderful counselor, this amazing person from authority, right? So if we go to Hebrews, and I didn't mark this out in my Bible, so I have to quickly find it. Hebrews is after First Peter, right? Or after the Peters? Nope. After the Johns? I don't know.
Nope.
Hebrews is. It's before that. It's before James. Yeah. I know my Bible. This is a test.
Yeah. We have to learn this for Bible intro. I studied hard.
So Hebrews 4:15 is kind of my favorite part in Hebrews, but it says, for we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but we have one in every respect who has been tempted as we are, yet without sin. So this is a God. This is Jesus. This is one who knows what we've been through. Someone who has been tempted. And so when he counsels us, we can trust that because he knows. He's been through it. He can sympathize. He was born in a manger and then died on a cross, which is the most holy, most dishonorable ways to be born and to die. And so there's nothing we can go through that he can't sympathize with. And so some quick application points here for this wonderful counsel is we have to be completely honest with him, right? If we want his help, we have to be able to admit our problems to him, our sins to him in a full way. We can't just ignore the problem and say, I need your help. I need your help. We have to really come to grips with what we're struggling with and bring it to him fully. And then secondly, we have to want to be healed. Sometimes you got to ask the question, do you really want change? Because that hurts. Change hurts. Healing can hurt, which is a bit of an oxymoron, but it's true. When Jesus wants to reach in your life and do something, it can be painful sometimes. And so you have to ask yourself, are you really want to be changed? Do you really want this this wisdom in you? And then lastly, are you willing to do whatever he says? It has to be a blank check. Think about a gift card. When you give somebody a gift card, they spend all the money on it. You've fulfilled your obligation to them. When you give somebody a blank check, which I know is kind of foreign to a lot of you because checks are a thing of the past, but what you used to do is sign a check, and if you wanted to give a person a check to go buy something, but you didn't know how much it was going to be, you'd sign it and then give it to them blankly so that they could fill in how much they want. The risk to that is that they just cash you out and take your money out. They
$1 million.
$1 million. Giving God a blank check, giving him the yes on the table before you've even asked the question, that's faith in his counsel. When you say, whatever you tell me, I'm doing because I trust your counsel and I want your counsel. That's what that is. So do that.
Well, and a little bit of text criticism, little blip on this. If you don't know what text criticism is, it's basically taking all of the different original manuscripts or pieces of manuscripts that have been found over many, many years and trying to get as close to the original as we
Reconstruct
can.
it.
Reconstructing. And we're learning about this right now in our Bible intro course. So something I thought was interesting is that in the original Hebrew manuscripts and things like that, there's no there's not really much punctuation in this context. So when writing specifically in verse 6, wonderful counselor, mighty God, everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, they didn't know whether wonderful and counselor were supposed to be two separate words.
Oh.
So they were like, well...
Oh, yeah, because there are some translations that put a comma there.
Wonderful, comma, counselor, comma...
Which is...
etc. And so it took them years in having to find not newer, but actually older manuscripts.
Right,
new discoveries of older manuscripts to realize that there was, in fact, it was supposed to be
wonderful counselor, one thing.
One word.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. Thank you. I actually didn't know that.
Historicity.
Yeah. So last thing on this, Jesus did not come just to solve all of our problems, right? He came ultimately for salvation. That's why we celebrate this Christmas season, and we'll talk about that next week. But part of his message will be abide in me fully, and you will be healed, right? You come to him with your problems, and he came for people who had problems. You never see Jesus walking around with someone who doesn't have problems. He doesn't do a miracle when there's no problem first, right? He doesn't just do magic tricks and say, "Oh, look, a rabbit." Like, it's always something that he's trying to heal. But just remember the ultimate cause of why he came. Rest in that he will heal you if you let him, right? Okay, so everlasting Father, I know we skipped over mighty God. We'll come back to that. I just feel like these two are just the longest I have here.
Okay.
Everlasting Father basically he's the perfect father, right? And the best way to think about this, I think, is to talk about something in psychology called father wounds, which are things that happen a lot when people don't have good father relationships, right? So there's one where the never satisfied dad, okay? And that says, like, never says, "I'm proud of you." And you can just tell that there's nothing you can do to please him. And I wish we could just talk about this for hours, but it's a hard topic to discuss about dads. And if you have had a hard time with your father, this is something that you can cling to in this Christmas season. If it brings up hurt, this is where you can cling to, the everlasting Father, right? Because God is so much different. God is crazy about you. He sent his only son to die to save you. People say, why? There's no loving God. If there's a loving God, why would he send you to hell? He has done everything necessary to keep you away from that, to try to save you, right? All you have to do is put your trust in that. And I'm just telling you, man, if you are watching this, if you are a human being with a heartbeat, God is crazy about you. And he thinks about you more times than you can possibly imagine. And that is the everlasting Father, right? That's different than the never satisfied dad. Then there's the time bomb dad, right? You never know when he's going to go off next. There's things that you walk in fear in your own house. Think about, okay, I'm going to read you Psalm 103:8. It says, "The Lord is merciful and gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love." Slow to anger in the Hebrew means long nostrils, which is really funny because when you think about when you get angry, like, your nostrils flare up. You start to have that reaction, right? And so this a really interesting word picture of God having long nostrils, just being able to be calm, slow to anger. He's not going to go off on you. God will never discipline you in anger. He can't. He already poured all of that on his son. He cannot discipline you in anger. It's just, it wouldn't fit his character. He's a just God. And so since he poured all that on his son, he's not going to discipline you in anger. And he's not going to put you in those positions because he loves you. He's not a time bomb dad. Then there's the emotionally distant dad, which is just there's not really anything there. You don't get any reaction out of him. Mid responses to everything. It's just kind of, we need, like psychologists say, we need three things to hear from our fathers. I love you, I'm proud of you, and you are really good at blank, right? And that's pretty self-explanatory. Like I said before, God is absolutely crazy about you. And if you think Isaiah 43:4, it's one of my favorite verses. "Because you are precious in my eyes, I love you, and I give men in exchange for you, peoples in exchange for your life." That says it all to me. Precious in my eyes, and I love you. He is not emotionally distant. He is right there.
Absolutely.
And then the absent father just isn't there. 40% of kids grow up in homes that don't have fathers, just aren't there. And the simple fact is that Jesus gave his life for you. He is more, or he's not, he's the opposite end of absent. He is right there. He has done everything. He thinks about you all the time. Think about the prodigal son story. Son runs away. That father stood at the gate and waited for his son. Now, father had to have a job, right? So him standing at the gate longing for his son means he's not doing his job. I'm not saying God doesn't do his job when he's waiting for you to come back, but he wants to be in your presence. And he, like in the prodigal son story, the father runs to the son and he's holding up his garments, which is a very disrespectful thing to do. It dishonors you, but it shows you that he runs to you. He wants you so desperately. And so even the best fathers will fail you, though. Just remember that. All fathers are sinful because they're humans. Even the best father will fail you. Even the best father will die. Think about that. That's why this is so good. Everlasting Father. He's not going to die. He's not going to go away. He's everlasting. And briefly, I would like to thank my own father for being such a great dad, because he's awesome. And he's a sinful dude, so he's let me down, but he's just a great dad. So thank you, Dad. And thank you, Mom. Like, it's not like Mom's not a part of this. Mom has been awesome. I love you, Mom. I love you, Dad. But I'm just very appreciative of that when I think about these everlasting fathers. Done a great job of portraying that love. But okay. Mighty Father. Did I put that?
God.
Mighty God. I'm sorry, I put that down. Mighty God's the next thing. Do you have something to say for that previous thing?
I have something to say for all of them, but you just
Okay.
are cruising, so I'm
Mighty God. This is valiant warrior, okay, in the translation, right? In the context, valiant warrior or mighty hero. Think about that. How cool is that? To have a God who is a mighty God, who's a warrior and a hero, that's for you, like is fighting for you and wants you, like I was saying before. But this is a way that God identifies himself multiple times in the Bible. It's not just here. So you know that repetitiveness in the Bible is so, it's just really important. But one commentator said that this is plainly showing that Jesus will be so powerful that he will be able to absorb and defeat evil itself on the cross. You know, being the mighty warrior and the valiant warrior and the mighty hero, he has that power to absorb evil itself and destroy it on the cross. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. So we know why Jesus came, looking into the future, to die for our sins. So this name is very fitting, and it's so perfectly crafted for him, being the mighty God. And then the last one, Prince of Peace, right? This is also pretty self-explanatory. I mean, there will be no more war under this king. This child will usher in the era of rest from conflict, which sounds weird to say because he's gone. Like, he's gone, he died, he resurrected, he's in heaven. There's still conflict and war. He's not come back to claim his kingdom yet. He's waiting for those people to come to him. He's giving you time, because every day he gives you, it's another day to come to him. So when he comes and he reigns officially, there will be no more war, no more conflict, no more hurt. There's just one spot in the Moody commentary, actually, which I recommend you buy. Ka-cha. I know it's out of focus. Wait, are you going to switch the camera? There we go. Ka-cha. Go buy it. It's pretty cool. There's a section right here about it. It says, some have suggested that these titles are merely a theophoric name, a name that embeds God's name in a human name. Hence, like Isaiah, which means the Lord saves, is a theophoric, but does not indicate that Isaiah is a deity. If this is so here, then the child is not necessarily deity, but rather a royal human figure with a long name, similar to, I forgot, I was going to look up what this means. Can you pronounce that? Mir Shalel Hashbez, which means swift is the...
Well, I can't read it, so I can't.
You're right. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Which is similar to this name, containing names of deity. They translate this as a wonderful counselor is the mighty God, the eternal Father is the Prince of Peace. So this is all one big thing, one big name kind of, right? And it's just a big identifying factor for him. But notice that peace is said twice here. Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace, of the increase of his government and the peace, and of peace there will be no end. Right? It's pretty important. And for the restless and anxious generation that we are, this is exactly the king that we need and the child that we need at Christmas time.
Yeah.
So
I have something to say.
there you go.
That.
Go ahead. You can say everything you want to say now.
Okay. Let's start with rewind to verse 6, beginning of verse 6. For to us a child is born, to us a son is given. Now, he breaks this up into two different phrases. A child is born and a son is given.
Yep.
Because a child is born into on our earth, being Jesus. But a son is given. The Son of God, being Jesus, is given to us as a gift. And I had never thought about that as like two separate things. I was like, oh yeah, duh, child is born. Like, hello.
Yeah.
But I hadn't separated that out as it's not just Mary's son in the literal sense. It is the Son of God that is given to us. And a literal child is born, true. But the son is given. Wow. And I think that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Moving on. Wonderful counselor. God's counsel. Well, let's start with what a counselor is. It's a wise person giving you advice. But God is wiser than any human could ever comprehend. So how could we ask for a better counselor than the most wonderful counselor being God? Secondly, mighty God. When we think of Jesus, I think of like, oh, he was born in a manger in the lowly, and he died on a cross, which is, for criminals and people who've done wrong. And that doesn't seem very mighty at first impression. But I think when they're saying, his name shall be called Mighty God, it's talking about God as a whole. And Jesus is mighty outside of his, like, when people think of mighty, they think of, like, war and, like, I'm very triumphant in this battle. And the battle that Jesus is fighting is not a physical battle.
We do not fight against
flesh and blood.
Flesh and blood, yeah. Paul said that.
Yes. And
same true for Jesus.
Yes. And so he is a very mighty God because of the battle against evil that he fought on our behalf and took on. Third, everlasting Father. He is a perfect Father that we can't even begin to comprehend what that is like, because we have our fathers, and as awesome as a dad can be, they're gonna have faults. I love my dad a lot. Love him to pieces. He does so many things so well, but he has faults. True. Your dad has faults. True. God will never have a fault. God will never let you down. God will never break a promise. God will never leave you alone somewhere stranded. It just won't happen. It is completely outside of God's character and who he says that he is to be imperfect in any way. And so you can rest in knowing that this prophecy has been fulfilled in Jesus, who is the Son of the everlasting Father.
Deuteronomy 31:6 says, "Be strong and courageous, do not fear or be in dread of them, for it is the Lord your God who goes with you. He will not leave you or forsake you." You know, that word not in Hebrew means not. He will not leave you or forsake you.
Huh?
It's a joke. It's like it's supposed to be like he's never going to leave you. He's not going to forsake you. You're absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Finally, Prince of Peace. The Prince of Peace. He will bring peace to the nations, and the nations will rely on his just decisions, is what is in my study Bible. And I love that description. And it's in parentheses as shalom. And shalom meaning perfect peace. Again, beyond our understanding of peace. We feel at peace. We, peace sign. But it's not the same as the peace that is brought when you know Jesus is in control. And God is in control.
Absolutely.
And so he is the Prince of Peace because we have our everlasting Father
Mm-hmm.
and our mighty God and our wonderful Counselor.
Mm-hmm.
The last thing I wanted to touch on was verse 7. Of the increase of his government and of peace, there will be no end. And in this commentary, this is how it puts it. And I want to leave this here. The kingdoms of this world will come and go with the passing of history. But this greater messianic kingdom continues in the kingdom of the greater Son of David. And I think that is a wonderful description of exactly what it meant by his government and its peace will never end. This world will end. His perfect kingdom will not.
Yeah.
Period.
Nothing else?
That's all I have.
That is all I have. I am so glad that that we did that. I love that.
I love Isaiah.
I love it.
It's one of my favorite books.
It's also one of my favorite books.
I love the Bible as a whole. Mark that quote. Isaiah is probably my favorite book of the Bible.
Huh.
If I had to pick one. So,
Well, yeah. Super awesome. So I hope you guys are encouraged by that. Just remember that even in the secular parts of Christmas, keep that in the back of your mind. That this is who's coming. That's who's here. I mean, has come and gone, but like that's who we're celebrating.
And next week we'll really get into
next week we will
Jesus.
Get into Jesus.
And it'll be so good. I'm so excited. So moving into side note for today, we are talking about secular Christmas music. So secular favorite. Meaning things that aren't necessarily Christian music. So secular is kind of a Christianese word that we use to describe non-Christians. So if you didn't know that, now you do. You're welcome.
It's not bad. It's just not like these are just like, okay, so my favorite Christmas song that's like more of a secular song is It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. It's the most wonderful, which is not about Jesus or the true meaning of Christmas, but it invokes a very like I don't know, that is one of the songs that gives me the most nostalgia. Like Christmas for me a lot of times is about nostalgia, and I don't know why, that's just how I am. But it just brings back so many memories, and it's a very nostalgic song. It makes me feel like Christmas.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like, and then there's that part, my highlight in the song is the part in the middle that says, there'll be scary ghost stories and tales of the glories from Christmases long, long ago. It's a very like, not minery, but it's just it sticks right in the middle. Yeah. And I love it. So yeah, I think that's one of my favorite. It's hard because I love so many different Christmas music. Like I don't even think it was hard for me to even to pick that as my favorite. But it's just, that's one of my top. It really hits every time. So
yeah. Considering my hatred for snow, this is my favorite song.
Is it Let It Snow?
No, it's Walking in a Winter Wonderland.
Oh yeah. Walking in Michigan in December. That's what that means.
Not lately. As of late, the winters have kind of been letting us down. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, but I just like it. It's sleigh bells ring. Are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening. It's a beautiful sight. We're happy tonight, walking in a winter wonderland. Yeah. And it just like paints this beautiful picture of like walking through this pretty snowy scene, and I don't have to think about being cold because I'm not actually outside. And I can just be warm and happy and think about walking down the lane and the bluebird and the new bird and building a snowman and doing all the fun things that I did in childhood of like spending hours outside and pretending to be lost in the wilderness in the snow with Jessica and my sister Jessica. And yeah, so I just like it. It's very nostalgic.
It's a great song.
Simple.
Yeah, so those are our songs that are like our favorite secular songs from Christmas. But like as far as Christmas music goes, like I just want to talk about Christmas music for a minute. Like so if you think about Christmas music, you think of Michael Bublé. Okay?
I think of Mariah Carey.
I know. That's the other thing. Mariah Carey, Michael Bublé. They both have very iconic Christmas sounding voices. Like, it's just when you hear Christmas music these days, that's just kind of one of the defaults in stores, you know. And like my top 3, like I was talking about before, most wonderful time of the year, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, and Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas. The reason those other 2 are on there is because of Michael Bublé's version of them. It's again, very nostalgic. It's very a sweet song.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, and then the way he puts the orchestra in there, like a lot of the original ones used big bands and stuff back then, and I wish people would do that now, but even Bublé put that in there with his orchestrations of it. So I love that. And so Christmas music just in general, well, okay, let's talk about why Santa Baby's gross.
Yeah.
Santa Baby, like people always
Santa
get
Baby
upset.
is a horrible song.
People get upset with that. What's the Baby It's Cold Outside, about how that's like a weird song? Like the dude is trying to get the girl to stay. No, if you read the lyrics, it's fine. Santa Baby's weird.
It's a little suggestive, but
And
Santa Baby is
Santa
creepy.
Baby is weird, and it's always in this high voice, and it's like weird and wah, wah, wah. I don't like it. Don't sing it. Don't sing it. Anyway, so don't listen to Santa Baby. That's my advice to you. Don't listen to Santa Baby. Any version of it.
It's creepy.
It is
like,
weird.
It's like, hey, Santa, you want to get me a ring for Christmas?
Do you want to marry me? Okay, so why is Christmas music so popular? Why is it always... Because it's like, I'm not a bandwagon guy. I don't love to hop on the Harry Styles and the 5 Seconds of Summer, and Charlie Puth I will listen to. But like those very bandwagon-y, very popular pop songs, Christmas music is something I will always hop on. Everybody listens to it. It's always the same music every year pretty much, and yet everybody loves it. Why is that? I wonder that, because even Christians and people who are atheists, they all love Christmas music.
Sometimes I think to myself, do people in like the South and the warmer areas listen to it as much? Maybe it's just a northern thing where it's
people
like
who
snowy
enjoy
and,
snowy stuff. Yeah,
you know, it's just getting in the mood. But I don't know. I've never really talked to somebody from down south about this.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that one. But yeah, so yeah, Christmas music is great, and listen to it. It's whatever, it's whatever, but it's popular for a lot of different reasons, and
Yeah, mostly because it's actually well written music.
yeah, because it's all from the past, and everything from the past is better.
Well, and I don't know, all Christmas music kind of has the same
Tone,
vibe
yeah,
to
for
it.
sure.
You know, the sleigh bells and the same kind of cadences and chords.
Now, when you think about it too much, it's like, okay, the picture they're painting of Christmas is pretty unrealistic.
Yeah.
Like, I've had some pretty awesome. Okay.
Lisa
okay.
just told him to shut up.
I've had
and
some,
I agree. No,
Listen,
I'm
I've had
kidding.
some, listen. I've had some pretty awesome Christmases, and I am not putting down the music. I'm just saying, like, just don't think about it too much. Listen to the music, but don't be like, because I feel like some people do listen to Christmas music and they're like, I'm excited to have a great Christmas, but you don't have a great Christmas, and then you feel let down.
You feel like you've been tricked.
Yeah,
By Mariah Carey.
by Mariah Carey. How could you?
How could you do this to me, Mariah?
Go back.
No, it's not. It's not even Thanksgiving.
Okay, so do you have anything else to say? I want to move on to the next one. I'm excited about the next one.
Next one.
Yeah, the next segment.
Oh, for projectile kind
For
I do have something else that I want to say.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I was going to talk about pentatonics for a minute.
Okay.
So the first concert that I ever went to was on my birthday, and I went to go see Pentatonics, and it was awesome. But before I listened to their other music, I listened to their Christmas albums, and you play me a pentatonic song, and you get that, like, it's really a 4-part harmony plus the one guy beatboxing
in every song,
and it's so good. Also, the lights are haunted. I don't know what's happening.
dude. We are having
right now.
electrical issues.
We are
today,
having
for
so
real
many problems right now,
dude. What in the world? All right, continue.
This room. Anyway, their version of "Mary Did You Know" gets me.
I mean, it gets
Every
everybody. That's like their
time.
most popular song. Period.
It's. I also like, their version of what is it?
I don't remember. We listened to a bunch of them the other day.
God rest you, merry gentlemen.
Oh,
There it
yeah.
is. I was thinking
Mm-hmm.
it's in the animated Grinch movie, and I actually I'm gonna talk about the animated Grinch movie in
Oh
our next
no!
segment.
Wait, you mean like the newer one?
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay, let's move on to the next one then, if you want to.
Wait,
Unless you have more to
stop
talk.
trying to rush me through.
I'm not rushing you. I just thought
You
that-
are rushing me.
I thought that was your segment into the next
No.
part. Go ahead.
I'm ready for the next part.
Good Lord, Janice.
I got him. No, but anyway, I really like Pentatonics, and they have great Christmas albums outside of your typical Christmas songs. They have some. There is one called Evergreen that I love, and a lot of people don't know what it is or what it's about, but it's this really sweet song about sitting by the fire and telling stories and your mom and like
Your mom.
It's not. I didn't
And your mom. Oh, everybody who is older than 22 will not understand why that's funny.
Hey, your mom.
I'm sorry.
no,
Everybody who has to
but-
listen to this.
No, but it is really about like a mother, and it's
Yep.
it's a sweet song, and I
Mhm.
like it. And
That was so funny.
anyway, we can move into
Projectile commenting. Now we're going to talk about our favorite movies, Christmas music, Christmas movies because I love Christmas movies and I love Christmas music and I do enjoy
Yes.
Christmas a lot, but this is just something that really hits and it hits for both of us
Mm-hmm.
and it's objectively the best Christmas movie.
Polar Express. The Polar Express is a cinematic masterpiece.
I'll tell you why. Music
Beautiful.
hits it.
So
Tom
awesome.
Tom Hanks hits it.
Wow.
He makes
Tom
that whole
Hanks.
movie. Tom
Well, he
Hanks
plays the
is
whole movie.
every single character. I'm serious. Like, if you didn't know this is
He's almost every
a
single.
little weird for you that you don't know this. He plays Santa, he plays the conductor, plays the kids like talking like thoughts.
Talking voice.
Plays the kid's dad, plays the ghost or the train ghost or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure he plays another guy, but that's like pretty much like the only thing he doesn't play is
And
the
then
girl and the kid that my
Yeah.
parents think I look like. The
You know what kind
annoying
of train
kid.
this is?
You know what kind of train this is?
Say it, please.
I do not want to say that on.
Please say it. You know what kind of train this is? He can do the voice so good.
Then you say, it's a magic train.
It's a magic train.
Yeah, I know it's a magic train. Actually, it's a Baldwin 284 S3 class steam locomotive built in 1931 at the Baldwin Locomotive Works. It weighs 456,100 pounds. And my mother will clip that and play it everywhere.
It's so good. It's so good. Are you kidding me? Also, the other reason this movie is awesome, Billy. I
Huh?
love
Oh,
Billy.
I thought you were saying Billie Eilish. No, Billy.
No. Billy. I love Billy.
Well, I got a bunch of stupid underwear.
You got-
Billy's from Grand Rapids. That's
Billy
where
is
I'm
from Grand Rapids, and that's why I love him so much, partially. And
Partially.
also, he has such a sad story.
Yeah.
He sits by himself on the train, and then the girl sings to him, and then they have this little moment, and it's so precious. It's so cute.
So back to the movie. I really think that
This
it
was
shows.
about the movie.
I know. I'm just teasing
Oh.
you. I just really think this movie brings to kids why they should believe. And I don't mean we can have a whole discussion about Santa and like the belief of that because there's a lot of people who feel strongly about not believing in Santa and how it's a very pagan holiday and all this kind of stuff. But
I can hear it.
the plot is just so pure. It's so well crafted. It gets you hooked with the train.
That's better.
I don't know. It just.
I'm sorry.
Are you done?
Yeah.
So I just think that it's okay to believe in Santa. It's okay to believe in the Christmas spirit. You know, like believe in God. We're going to talk about why Christmas exists, but with the part of like being joyful and having fun and seeing the magic, like the train and the adventures, everything. It's just very nostalgic. But I mean, like the other movies I really like the Santa Clauses, like with Tim Allen. Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are like my two favorite actors, and they both play in one of the best Christmas movies ever. And they're Buzz and Woody from Toy Story. But then like Charlie Brown Christmas, I love cartoons. I love Charlie Brown. A Christmas Carol, old Scrooge, like the animated. It's kind of spooky. It's kind of not. Barbie Nutcracker.
So good.
The Barbie Nutcracker.
The best Nutcracker
Nutcracker adaptation ever. And the Nutcracker itself is amazing, but whew, I love Barbie Nutcracker.
So good.
It's so good.
You want to know a Christmas movie I don't really like?
What?
That I get a lot of hate for from my sister? Because it's her favorite, I think.
All right.
Elf.
Lay it on me. Elf? Yeah, no, I mean, I like Elf, but it's not my favorite.
I can't deal with Elf. No, sir. When he eats the gum off the freaking railway, when he puts spaghetti and sprinkles and syrup and candy cane, candy corn, candy crap.
Yeah, that's gross, and it would give my dad an aneurysm knowing how much poison he's
If somebody put that in front of me, I would decease. I would be dead.
I'm dead.
I'm dead. Yeah, it would not be good because food stuff just. But that whole movie, I just don't really like it. I think he's just kind of annoying and kind of creepy in a way.
I could watch Polar Express over and over and over and over again. I don't think I could watch Elf over and over again.
I couldn't.
I think it's just because Polar Express has a very cyclical plot in the way that like they go home, the train disappears. You could do that next year. Like I don't know how that works, but like with Elf, it's like the sleigh crash, and they've got to figure out how to deliver the presents. Like I don't know. I do love Elf.
Home Alone.
Jess, don't be mad at me for not liking Elf. Yeah, I can still be a good person and not like Elf. I don't.
I like Home Alone.
I don't love it. I'm okay with it.
I'm moving past Elf. Okay. I'm on Home Alone now.
Home Alone is barely a Christmas movie to me.
Huh?
It takes place during the Christmas season, but what does it have to do with Christmas? You're just killing men. He just obliterates 2 men.
No, I'm talking about the later one where he ends up in New York and there's the big Christmas tree.
I know.
With his mom in the park.
As I just said, it just takes place during Christmas.
Yeah, that's what a Christmas movie is.
It's like people who think Die Hard's a Christmas movie.
Die Hard and Home Alone are not in the same category. Do not say that to me. No. No. No.
Okay.
I haven't seen Die Hard.
Neither have I.
But no.
But I know that people think it's a Christmas movie, and based on what I do know about it, I don't think it's necessarily a Christmas movie. I don't know. They're not in the same category. It doesn't matter. You're right.
I am right.
Yeah, okay.
Next movie.
That's it. I mean, that's my favorite movie is Polar Express. We've agreed on this.
Yeah.
You're just going to talk about opinions on different Christmas movies? I don't even know. There's not a lot of them. There's ones out there, but I feel like there's not a ton.
I could rank them.
We could rank them Polar Express number 1 and Polar Express number 2.
And Polar Express number 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Like, okay, think about the shot of the camera going behind the book to see, like, when he's reading about how Santa's not real. He's got the light, and he's, like, looking through the pages, and then the camera, like, goes behind the book, behind the pages, and you see the words, like, Santa not real or whatever. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. And I think I wish they would recreate it in, like, new animation style.
I don't. That would take all the nostalgia away from it.
No,
Batman.
I'm saying, like, that they could add more detail.
Oh, there's plenty of detail.
There is plenty of detail, but there's also some parts that are like, that's an old animation. You can tell.
Well, yeah, but I think that's the beauty of it. I think that's what makes it the best. Is it's like it's right in the middle where it doesn't.
One that's like touched up.
Okay, like a remastered.
A little more refined.
Like remastered.
Yes.
Okay, maybe I could get behind that, but you take away the feeling. You take away why it's the best movie.
I don't think so. My favorite scene out of that movie is when the one guy is at the front of the train
and then pulling on the hair.
It's so funny.
Oh my gosh.
And they're trying to get the elk out of the way and
caribou. Yeah.
Caribou.
Okay, interesting fact. So I love Back to the Future. If you remember the Thanksgiving episode that definitely came out a week later. So Back to the Future was directed by Bob Gale and Robert Zemeckis, right? Well, Robert Zemeckis also directed Polar Express. If you look during the scene where they are going back and forth on the ice and the pin, or no, they're going up and down on the hills. They're going up and down the hills. They're stuck in the front of the train. All the kids are. Remember, there's that pin that's floating around that they need to put in the throttle control or the brake, whatever it is. And the guy eats it. During that whole scene, there's one shot where you can see a flux capacitor in the Polar Express. And I'm pretty sure that's how they get back and forth to the North Pole. But it's a flux capacitor. It's not just a hoax. Like he put that in. That's a flux capacitor from Back to the Future.
What?
It's so cool. And I show it to people and they're like, no, they're not. And then you show it and it's like, yeah, there's right there. But when you think about Back to the Future and you think about the nuances of that movie and you think about Robert Zemeckis, it's pretty obvious that they go together. Like, okay, here's another cool fact. You ready? In Back to the Future, Part 3, there is a shot where Doc Brown is in the train, and he just stole the train, and he puts the cap on, and he pulls the thing, goes boop, boop, and he turns to Marty and says, I've wanted to do that all my life. Cut to Polar Express. Kid gets in the train, pulls the thing, and goes, I've wanted to do that all my life. It's the same line. It's the same shot from the train thing. It's so cool. Somebody out there will think it's cool, I think. If not the women in this room.
I just don't want that to be related.
Why? They're both amazing. Okay, Lisa's better than you.
Well,
I'm just kidding. She thinks it's cooler. She's indifferent.
Yeah.
You were just against it.
I just want Polar Express to be its own thing.
It is its own thing. Listen.
No, you're making it about Back to the Future.
No.
No.
It is its
you
own...
will do anything to make this about Back to the Future.
You're not entirely wrong. But listen, my point is, it adds to it. Back to the Future is a great movie. Polar Express is a great movie, and you can forget Back to the Future, but it's cool, nuanced. You can't ignore the the flux capacitor. You can't ignore the flux capacitor in the train. You know?
You know what kind of train this is?
You know what kind of train this is?
Magic train.
I know it's a magic train. Actually, it's a Baldwin 284 S3 class steam locomotive built in 1931 in the Baldwin Locomotive Works. It weighs 456, 100 pounds. All right, we're moving on.
Yeah.
We went over a little bit on the scripture, and then we went too fast on one part, and now I don't know where we're at time-wise, so we're just going to cruise into this last part.
We're going to head into Going Alone.
Now, this is actually not Going Alone this week, because what we're going to do...
about...
We're just going to talk about...
That's my intro. You're stealing my intro. He is always on me about, this is my intro part, and this is your intro part, and then he takes it. You see what I deal with? Anyway, Going Alone today is going to be a little bit...
So Going Alone is going to be... I'm just kidding. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I got to pick up the pee floor.
Pick up the pee on the floor?
Pick up the pee on the floor. I threw a pee at him, for those listening. Basically, today we're going to talk about just Christmas traditions and tell some favorite Christmas memories. Both of us are. Get your hand out of my frame. And we're going to talk about both of our stories of Christmas time and things like that. Instead of just me talking about my stories today, we're both going to do a little story time.
Yeah, we're taking a break from the cars.
Yeah. Car brake. Putting the brakes on it. Just...
You know, the way the car brakes actually is you take the caliper, and the caliper has this...
We're not talking about cars today, Brendan.
I know. Okay, so do you want to just go back and forth, or you want to go...
just kind of hop in wherever.
Okay.
You know, wherever the thought takes you.
So something that we do, this is just like traditions, right? Traditions, favorite Christmas memories, whatever, something that kind of comes to mind when I think of Christmas is what we do now. Right now, my family and I, usually if I'm at home for Christmas, which I am, we'll go to Horrocks, which is in Michigan. Horrocks. I say Horrocks.
You're wrong.
I am probably wrong, but Horrocks is better than Horrocks. We go to Horrocks, and we buy a tree. Actually, I should ask my parents about this. At some point we bought a tree and then gave it away. just to give a tree away. Because what happened was we ended up, we used to get a tree from Red Flannel Tree Farm. We'd cut it down. We'd see the horses, Ford and Chevy. And it was awesome. We'd have hot chocolate. It was so much fun just to be out in the cold, cut a tree down. Well, we'd bring that home. We'd decorate it. It's fine. But Milena ended up being allergic to citrus and pine trees. So, but there's just always this thing where...
so unfortunate.
Yeah, so she would get sick and she's like, Mom, I'm allergic to fruit. And she's like, no, you're not. Eat your fruit. And then Milena ended up being worse. And then, so we went to the doctor and she's like, I think I'm allergic to fruit. And my mom's like, no, she's not. And the doctor's like, she's allergic to fruit, to citrus, like to oranges and stuff like that. And pine, like the stuff that we have in our tree. So we couldn't get a tree anymore. So my dad and my parents found this perfect Christmas tree on the side of the road, I'm pretty sure. And we've had that tree for so many years. It sits up and like you to unpackage it, you just kind of bend the branches back down and it just spins very slowly. It's perfect. It's not real. You hang ornaments on it. We put all this stuff on it. It's like so heavy. It's got lights and ornaments, and my mom decorates it with tinsel and stuff. And sometimes I think it's too much, but it's pretty cool. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But we even spend some time like setting it up. Like we wear elf hats this year. She's gonna make us wear elf costumes. So, and you're invited to that. So she told me if you're coming, you have to wear one.
I have to
too.
wear an elf costume
Yep.
if I go. Oh boy.
So yeah. So there's that.
Let me reconsider.
And so that's just something I think about is my sister having inflamed throat, try to decorate a tree. And now we've got the perfect Christmas tree. But my mom just told me today we're going to buy another tree. We're going to get a different tree.
Oh.
I'm keeping that box. I'm keeping that perfect tree. Because it's sentimental and
Sure.
I don't like change,
Mhm.
but
I know. I'm aware.
do you have anything? I have more to talk about, but I don't want to
Oh.
be taking up all the time.
Every time on Christmas Eve, me and my sister will bake cookies. Well, or my grandma will have already baked cookies and we will have decorated them. And then we put them out for Santa and we write him a letter and do all this stuff. And it's cute. And we still do it. We still write Santa letters, even though I don't believe in Santa anymore.
That's really
She does.
unfortunate.
Um,
I'm with you, Jess.
and so one year all we had was like 2 of our normal sugar cookies and some biscotti. I don't know if you know.
What?
I don't know if you know what biscotti is, but it's like this weird, different kind of cookie thing, and it's not good. And we had this biscotti. And we put it out and we were like, we know we're lacking on the cookies this year, Santa, but we heard that elves love biscotti.
What? You pulled that out of nowhere. Come on.
No, that's real. And so me and Jess will talk to each other and be like, elves love biscotti. And the next morning we woke up and we came downstairs and the biscotti was still on the table and Santa had wrote us back and he's like, you're wrong.
Wow,
Like, elves do not
Santa
love
is
biscotti.
unhinged.
But it wasn't like that blunt, but it was still so funny. And we were just crying, laughing, reading that.
Wow.
And but we'll do that and we'll leave carrots for the reindeer. And on Christmas Eve, my dad will read the night before Christmas to us before we go to bed. We put our stockings on our door handles.
Oh, interesting.
We take them off the hinges because we don't have a fireplace. Or I guess
A hearth.
at our childhood home, we didn't have a fireplace.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would take them off the little hooks we had on the windowsill in our living room, and we'd go put them on our doors. And then when you open the door in the morning, it's nice and full. And then we'd get up at like 7 a.m. and burst into our parents' room and be like, Mom, Dad, it's Christmas. And we'd wake them up. Or usually, actually, I would wake everybody up. I was up at the crack of dawn every day. Not just
Sounds like
on
Lana.
Christmas. Every day. I'm not anymore. But
No, she slept until 5 the other day. It was kind of funny. PM.
you didn't have to at me like that.
5 p.m.
Get your hand out of my frame. You didn't have to say that.
I know, but it's okay.
That's really embarrassing.
No, it's
though.
not.
Yes, it is.
All right, hold on. Put the camera on me. It's not embarrassing. Don't judge her. It's okay. I sleep pretty late too. It's okay.
Not 5 p.m. though.
Not 5 p.m. But
I was sick.
She was unwell, and she needed it.
I
So
was sick and not feeling well.
It's
I slept
okay.
till 5.
it's okay.
I feel bad about it.
Don't feel bad.
Anyway.
You're not like Roderick, who slept through a whole day. And it's like, where's Monday Night Football? It's Tuesday.
Literally. But I was thinking, where was I? Night before Christmas.
Stockings,
Stockings.
no hearth, no.
Oh, I'd
fireplace.
wake up at like 5 a.m.
Oh, yes.
And like go and jump on my sister's bed and be like, Jessica! And she'd be like, it's Christmas! And I'd be like, yeah!
Jiminy Crickets!
And then we'd run into our parents' room, wake them up, and be like, it's Christmas! And we'd sit in there until they had no choice but to wake up and start unpacking our stockings. Be like, you got stuff in your stocking too. And they'd be like, okay, go get it for us. And we'd go get their stockings. We all would unpack it in their room in the morning and then head downstairs and my dad would cook up a big old breakfast, and me and Jess would usually probably play outside for a little bit.
I can't wait for Christmas.
And we would come back in, we'd open presents all together after breakfast, and we got to open one gift on Christmas Eve.
We do that too, but it's always pajamas.
Yeah.
Because then my mom wants
you to wear the
pajamas for the pictures and the videos the next morning, which, speaking of which,
that's cute.
Stockings, my stockings like this big. All of our stockings are huge, and we can't hang them up because they get too heavy, and so we have to lay them on the ground so that they can
My
be filled
grandma
enough.
made our stockings.
My aunt, Sarah, made them for us, and they were. I actually cannot confirm that.
Mine
I'm pretty
has
sure.
my name embroidered in
Mine,
cursive,
we
and
have
it's
our
nice.
names embroidered in
Classic.
normal print. But like I was saying, this whole thing with presents, right? We open one before Christmas Eve for pajamas, but the next morning, my siblings and I gripe about this a lot. But I mean, truly, I appreciate it to some degree. Every single present is numbered, lettered, coded. Even the ones from Santa. After Santa delivers them, she gets up early enough so that she can code them. And then she's got a notebook and only like hands one at a time, picture, video, one at a time, picture, video, open it, picture, video, clean up. And
Your
listen,
mom does this?
yes, I appreciate the
Insane.
process. The ones that come from her, she wants to make sure that they are like
In the right order.
in the right order. They come, like, you don't want to open the video game and then get the console. Like, you want the console first and then the video game, or even just it's planned. Like, she wants to know what's coming when, and she wants to put the good ones at the end. Like, it's realistically, it's a cool thing, but oh my gosh, sitting there waiting just to open another present. I mean, I have very little delayed gratification, like zero.
We do, like, we'd have one person assigned as Santa. And so the person who was assigned as Santa for that year would walk up and grab a gift, and deliver it to whoever it was, and we'd watch them open it, and then we'd go get the next gift, and then we'd go get the next gift. But one thing that's different now is I love the way that we do it. The way that my stepmom's side of the family does is they pass out all the gifts first, and then you just go crazy. You just and it's so different to me. And I sit through it every year, and I go,
I mean, that's like what I do with my milkshake
happened?
that we had at the Cheesecake Factory one time.
cheesecake.
Cheesecake Factory. I don't know if any of my floor mates will listen to this, or anybody who was on that table, like Kyler, will know this. I sucked that thing down. Like, we went out to get cheesecake after Bows and Crows, which was a thing that we did after the first night of Founders Week. I mean, it was just this cookies and cream milkshake, but the straw was like this big. It was huge. So I went to drink it, and I mean, that thing was gone in 2 seconds. I mean, I gulped it down, which is the same feeling when you open all the presents at the same time, which is not bad. I mean, it still tasted awesome, and I enjoyed it, but I get a lot of heat for that.
I like opening one at a time, very methodical.
I do too, but
I like ripping the paper off.
I like being able to open it without tearing the paper sometimes.
No.
If it's a big box, I'll tear it apart. If it's a small one, I just want to make it easy because I know I have to pick it up afterwards.
Yeah.
But so Santa comes to our house every Christmas Eve, actually, because we're so awesome. And he comes in and sits down. I get to sit on his lap in my living room. How freaking cool is that? He asks me what I want for Christmas. I tell him. Sometimes he brings this little sack of like mini toys, and my mom will pass those out. It's like a little tiny Lego set. Something, a little taste of what's to come in the morning or whatever. A little, and then, but I mean, it's really, I remember this one time I was sitting next to the blinds at our old house. I'm like, wait a minute. Is Santa's sleigh out there? And my mom was like, yeah. And I was like, well, let me see. And she's like, no, you can't. And I was like, well, why not? And she's like, it'll ruin it. You don't want to do that. I was like, you're right. And then I tried to see it, and she wouldn't let me. So my assumption is he probably parked it on the roof, and my mom didn't want me to be disappointed that there's nothing out there. So
What? There was nothing out there because Santa.
no, it's probably on the roof.
It was definitely not on the roof.
But anyway,
Um,
was there something I was gonna say? Oh yeah, Christmas Eve though. We go to my grandma Bonnie's house usually, and we all have a cousin sleepover. We make cookies, watch a movie, whatever. You don't go to sleep. Wake up on Christmas Eve. It's still fun. We have a breakfast. But Christmas Eve is usually the big family party that night. All the extended family comes. They party it out. We play White Elephant. The kids watch a movie. We eat a big dinner. It's great. And then we stay the night, wake up Christmas Eve. It's pretty darn awesome. We've had a little bit harder time getting into that in recent years because of COVID, and then they also moved to a new house, built a new house. And so it's been a while since I've really been a part of one of those, which is a darn shame because it's an awesome time with the cousins. And it'll be interesting now because Nat has a grandchild, or Nat has a kid, so Grandma Bonnie has a great-grandchild now. A great-grandchild. So I don't know. We'll see how it
doing
goes.
math in his mind right
Nah, I just couldn't remember. But
numbers, what do they mean?
yeah. What else do I have in here? We try to leave Santa milk and cookies and carrots.
Mm-hmm.
And we've
You leave your Elvis biscotti.
No, we don't leave our Elvis biscotti. But we've got this awesome set. It's like this cool glass mug for milk, but it looks like a sack for toys. It's really, really cool. And then we have a one with Santa on it. Like the plate is like shaped like Santa himself with his beard. And
Right. Yeah.
it's really cool. But we usually, whatever cookies we have, we kind of toss on the plate and put some carrots and some milk out there and stuff. And it's really, really cool. But I love coming down the stairs, well, at least when I lived upstairs, and seeing all the toys covered. Like we couldn't even get through the living room because there's so many toys.
Wow.
I know, I'm freaking rich. I mean, Santa's rich. I'm kidding. I don't actually get a lot of presents from Santa.
Humble.
Most of them are from my parents, but I get about 2 from Santa. Probably because he's got so much stuff to freaking go around and give. Is there anything else that I'm
the
missing?
Lord is generous and is giving to your parents to give you gifts. That is correct.
So. I think so.
And there is no Santa.
Yeah. I think recently we've been trying to do
He
this.
agrees
I do agree.
that there is no Santa.
Oh, no. I don't agree
Got
about
him.
that. I don't agree about that.
God.
But that's why I get presents. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well,
I would like.
you got another
to-
thing?
I would like to end this episode with reading The Night Before Christmas.
Oh, okay. Do it.
Okay.
Do it.
This is going to take a moment, but enjoy this
We have a few minutes. Go ahead.
and just accept the Christmas spirit amongst you. The Holy Spirit, that is. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes did appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came. He whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer, now Vixen. On Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in the twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to the foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was white as the snow. The stump of a pipe he had held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath.
Santa smokes.
He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know that I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, ere he drove out of sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
And you say, there is no Santa.
We hope that you have a very Merry Christmas time, and that this has brought you into the Christmas mood. And we will see you next week for another heaping, healthy helping of a ladle of peace. Thank you for tuning in.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.